spline interpolation and spline regression. That means simply we are dealing with a linear model where our basis is coming from spline. Basis, that means piecewise polynomial. Spline happens to be piecewise polynomial, and it is more robust in sense that it is covering the localized nature of the data. So if you are collecting data from some source, and in that source what you observe that data is not having global behavior. That means by seeing one sample, one data point, you can't say that you can't say talk about globally about other points just after seeing few. So local wise, region wise, the nature of data, pattern of data is varying. So in that case you simply can't model with the help of polynomial regression. Why? Polynomial is global in nature. Polynomial always defined over an interval. It is not defined point wise, or it is not defined interval, a small sub interval wise. So that's where you will face problem. So especially spline interpolation and spline regression, it is meant for the data which is having localness properties. So that's where it is very interesting that mostly what is meaning of localness? That means you are just dealing in a small neighborhood of something, some point, a small neighborhood of some point. And everywhere if you try to see around us, problem mostly happens to be local in nature. It is not in global in nature always. Even if you might have already studied calculus. So calculus, if you try to define derivative or limit, if you are defining limit or derivative, whatever concept from calculus coming, mostly things happens to be local in nature. So when we are talking about limit, so limit of a function in a neighborhood of a point. So neighborhood that we define it uh, delta neighborhood, it is coming very simple approach. X in if your function is univariate function, then in delta neighborhood of any point x, it would be x plus open interval x plus delta and x minus delta. We are calling it delta neighborhood of x. Delta we put in suffix, and center is for this neighborhood, center is in the by taking that point as a center, we are defining an open interval that is actually an neighborhood of this one. And here if you try to define limit of a function, then limit we define in the neighborhood. Always we say that limit of function is defined in this neighborhood. So if you go for epsilon data, that generally we used to write it f of, call it x bar, another point f of x, uh, x. So x bar will approach to x. So we are defining like this way. This is the limit concept. You might have already seen that limit. We are defining like this. So x bar is some point from this neighborhood. So x bar belongs to, it is a small, so delta is a very small. So it is talking about localness of the this definition, local definition of what we call it limit x minus delta and x plus, equality would be not here because open interval we are taking, x plus delta x minus, it lies between. Similarly, if you want to define derivative f dash at point x, so what is this one? This one is also having local nature. We always define derivative in the form of limit. Whenever there is a involvement of limit, always by default becomes a local concept. So here again we will define limit f of either right hand derivative or left hand derivative, x plus delta minus f of x. I'm just giving picture of localness. What is meaning of localness? Divided by delta, and delta we say that it tends to 0. Either say delta tends to 0, or you say x bar tends to, here take it x bar, or simply x plus delta if you are writing it, that one is meaning of x plus delta is the x bar. So either you are saying here x bar is actually equal to x plus delta. So x bar is approaching to x, it implies delta is approaching to 0. So this definition we also call it, it is definition of derivative by first principle. So always we observe here localness, all these are having local property. Globally you can't define derivative. In order to define globally in interval, we always define pointwise. So it is a pointwise approach to define derivative or limit of a function, derivative of a function. So same criteria is coming with respect to spline. So we will not go pointwise definition, we will go small interval wise definition, like this way, delta neighborhood kind of concept. So coming to outline of my today's lecture, first I will talk about spline interpolation. What is the spline interpolation and how we can model that, how we can get for a given data, how we can do spline interpolation. That means few number of points would be given here like this way. Definitely if you try to see local wise, this one is in this interval locally. So in this interval we observe one concavity like this way. If you further see, observe this one, in this interval we observe another kind of concavity, it is like this way. So definitely it is a polynomial. In this interval we observe a polynomial, also in this interval we observe a polynomial. Likewise if you observe further in this interval, we observe another polynomial like this way. Likewise various pieces of polynomial we observe interval wise. See, you can call it, it is interval 1, interval 2, various intervals. So always what you do, divide the given domain of the problem, hypothesis function, domain of the hypothesis function, or simply also you can say that range of the attribute, divide the range of the attribute in such a way the hypothesis function it would be defined locally, locally in the sense that in each interval it will have different concavity, different pattern. So that's way here we can't apply polynomial, we will go for a spline approach. And then I will talk about the relation of this one spline interpolation with spline regression. Spline regression in last class I had already discussed in detail, and at last, if time permit, then I will go to discuss last part of this module. That one is radial uh, regression. What is that here? Just it is a matter of basis function, what basis function you want to proceed with. So here we are taking a spline as a basis function. Here we will take basis function as what? We will take basis function as a radial function. So bi, various basis function would be there. So radial basis function generally it is defined with respect to Gaussian, what we call it exponential of uh, e to the power e to the power minus. I'm just taking here one very x is univariate, a single. No, there is a single attribute. So from that perspective, it is univariate. And that means xi is the data, the given value of that attribute divided by twice of r square. So this is what we call it radial basis. So with respect, we can generalize it to n dimensional. There is no issue. Higher dimensional, we can generalize it by taking associate now. So that kind of just it is this would be the basis, and this radial basis I had already discussed in module 1. You can look into that again. So coming to a spline interpolation, what does it? How we can understand this one? So and why we are first, I will talk about motivation, why we are going for a spline regression interpolation. Then after I will talk about the relation of this with regression. So why we are going for that? So suppose we are having a data which is region wise localized. That means in one region it is having different nature, in another region it is having different nature. There is no global pattern we observe. Okay, so in that case what will happen? uh, there would be issue, there would be issue, and that issue can be resolved by the use of spline. So in case we have a, suppose we are having a set of data that varies, that means there are several some data points or samples that varies rapidly over range of interest. For example, if you talk about a spectral representation of your measurement, whether a time signal, if you take just time signal, and you try to find a spectrum of those. So a spectrum, it will be, even you take a sound or you can take any other signal, it would be, there would be that as various zigzag kind of nature, a spectral nature, very peaky kind of things. So it will contain various peaks and dips and peaks, you will observe in that spectral representation of a signal. So if you observe these various peak and ups, due to that what will happen, definitely it would be very difficult to model. So we can model that with the help of a spline. So there would be various peaks, various dips, based on in each neighborhood of peaks and dips. What we will define local region by seeing the scatter plot. We will define local, we will, that means simply what we do partition of the given interval. So if you are, suppose signal is defined over interval a to b, in the continuum fashion. So what we, and it is very peaky, and peaky in sense that peaks, and there are very peaks and dips. Then in that case, we introduce a partition that definitely will come from our choice of partition, which would be better one. Okay, so we try to select a partition. So it is introducing a partition, and that partition approach is very much simple to what you have already gone through in math 1, that while studying that Riemann integration, same partition is coming. So same partition, so we call it, this point is the zeroth point, or zeroth node you can call it, or node also you can call it. And this point would be x1, x2, and it will go on like this way. So always, after seeing the pattern, that a scatter plot of data, you are deciding all these nodes. Okay, and this would be what, x and nth. So that means you partition the given range of value of data. The data is taking value into a partition, and this point would be x n minus 1. And with respect to each value not, you are having corresponding value of y, that response. So we call it y naught. Then you will have y1, y2, likewise yn. So your ultimate aim would be what? We want to fit a function f such that y equal to fx. We want to fit a function. So it is a pure fitting approach is happening. And what is nature of this f? That f we will take as a spline pure piecewise polynomial. Piecewise polynomial of some degree we will include. So that thing we will discuss here. So in such a situation, what we do, we want to fit the function locally we want to fit, and to connect each piece of those function that locally those has been defined in a smooth fashion, in order to approximate the hypothesis function, in order to approximate. So that is the intention. Okay, so what is coming into picture in that case? So a spline is such a tool, so that one is providing to do such kind of localized modeling. Localized, then first approach is we have to model the problem localized in different region in localized way. And second condition is also that we have to connect the localized version, and in order to get the overall uh, modeling. So what a spline is, such a tool. It interpolates the data locally through a polynomial and fit the data overall. Okay, so did you get the meaning of that? Anyone is having any question here? What does in spline interpolation, what does it do? First, spline interpolates the data in local sense. After that, it is doing the globalness of fitting the by connection. So fit the overall data overall local wise in the local process, localized process. Locally you completely cover the complete range of the attribute. That attribute is taking value from some range. Okay, so and after, so one we did, after that we connected each segment of the interpolation polynomial by matching the function and its derivative at the data point. So at hand we are having only xi and yi for I varies from 1 to 0. Always we will take I equal to 0 for this initialization. And to it will go up to n. This is the situation. Okay, now further I will talk about the interpolation process. So assuming that we are trying to create a spline function that approximate a discrete data set, that means y equal to f of xi. So that means xi and yi are given to us. This one is given at hand. We are having only this. Okay, and we want to uh, fit a kth order spline. Kth order spline like this way, p of xi. So it is a piecewise polynomial. It is not a global polynomial. It is a piecewise polynomial. So so each in each piece of that polynomial, which is defined. Suppose you are taking ith interval. This is the ith interval. So in each subinterval, this one is a polynomial of degree k. That's why we are talking about kth order. So here and like this way, there are many. It is defined in such a way there would be no issue with smoothness at the what connecting point, at the connecting point. Okay, there would be no issue. So it is here definitely there would be at what one hand you may feel there might be some kind of issue, but it is defined in such a way a smoothness would be there. Definitely there would be change of concavity and other property, change of some other kind of property of the function. So it is defined. So this one is the you can say that it is a local polynomial. It is defined local polynomial defined in ith interval. This call it II. And the coefficient is what is unknown here? Unknown is omega ij, that we need to determine here. I am using the word determine, can be determined, because here I am not using the word of estimation because of this interpolation nature. Exact fit, we are talking about exact fit because here we will take various coefficient, and it can be determined by putting a smoothness edge condition over at the non-boundary data points, like these intermediate points, these intermediate point x1 x2 are these partition point. Also you can say that partition point as well. If you try to relate it with Riemann integration, you can call it partition point. xi plus 1, like this way it will go on. Like last point would be xn plus xn, and this first point would be xj. So it just try to relate with xj equal to a and xn equal to b. It is coming like this way, and it is all the juncture node, the spline, it is satisfying a smooth, very nice. They are smooth up to order k minus 1. Okay, and satisfying the property in such a way like that if you're trying to find, so I plus 1, it is talking about always give attention to this suffix. It is talking about polynomial component, the spline part of a spline component in the interval i I plus 1th interval. It is talking about I plus 1 interval, and here we are finding lth derivative. This one is lth derivative of a spline in ith interval at point, the first terminal point I plus 1. Okay, so it is talking about in the interval I xi plus 1 xi plus 2. Okay, and this one is I, it is dealing with, it is talking about ith subinterval. That means what are the terminal point of ith interval? It is xi and xi plus. Okay, so here you can see that, and here we have defined pi, that spline pi of x we are defining here, and here in this interval xi plus 1 and xi plus 2 we are defining pi plus 1, and these are k minus 1 times differentiable. Other property we are putting, that's why kth order we are defining. And apart from that we are putting condition that it is defined in such a way, so we observe that we can say that there is it is just to define the continuum of a derivative. If zeroth derivative, that means function of itself continuum. So this property we are taking just to make this a smoothness condition. That means first this function must be continuous. So in order to continuous, we know that here rightmost point of pi at this interval ith, it would be p of xi plus 1. This would be rightmost point. This must be equal to, in order to make it continuum, this must be equal to uh, first point of the ith uh, I plus 1th interval. That means this must be equal to uh, this one is coming with respect to ith interval, so pii, and this one is coming with respect to I plus 1th interval. This must be equal to pi of xi plus 1 must be equal to pi plus 1 of xi plus 1. It is just for continuity of this spline to add, and that means these are the node, these are the terminal or not no, internal and terminal points. So, and it is very easy to define internal terminal points by taking the given data given, by taking the given value of attribute. Definitely it would be always finite numbers, you can always define those as a terminal point, or we can call it partition point also, we can call it. Apart from that, what we do, it is k minus 1 time differentiable, and differentiability is also, those differential are also continuous. So that's why we say that this equality is valid for all derivative up to order k minus 1. So this is the condition over a spline. In order to make it more smooth, this spline make it more smooth at node. Another node means we are calling knot node, or you can call it uh, node also, you can call it. There is at this node. Okay, so now for simplicity, I am taking an example of a spline of order 3, k equal to 3. Okay, and here generally what is happening in a spline, we always take odd degree, odd order, either 1 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 9, like kind of. Okay, and we are having given data points xi, yi, m number of data points we are having, and with the condition, additional condition we are putting that we are not going for a strange nature at boundary point, that a and b are the boundary and others are internal boundary of the subinterval, what we call it. Simply you can call it non-boundary point. So we are putting in a spline, we are putting one condition that it would be natural, since that the condition over pi at boundary, it would be 0. That means at a and at b the polynomial is 0 also. uh, Polynomial is taking value 0 also, other derivatives are also taking value, that other derivative are taking value 0. So this one is coming with respect to natural condition. That's why natural things, natural, it is like it is easy to that in Rolle's theorem you might have already seen that. So that's why all these assumptions are just for making calculation simple. We have to put this kind of assumption. Now we are coming to talk about this cubic spline. So how we can discuss all these? So first we need to know what is the problem. Problem is here, it is coming like this way. We at hand we are having n plus 1 data points, that means data set of size n plus 1. And now our question is that we have to find a piecewise cubic polynomial of the form this one. This is the form. Okay, cubic polynomial. You can observe that here, cubic polynomial. So we want to fit a special kind of polynomial which is cubic subinterval wise. So one subinterval, so I told that here one subinterval is coming x0 to x1, another subinterval is x1 to x2, likewise xn minus 1 to xn. So here this one terminal, this was, this is the boundary, x0 is boundary, left boundary, xn is the right boundary, equal to, you can call it b, x0 equal to a, and in between these are the x partition point, x1 x2 are the partition point. So locally we are defining cubic polynomial. So this one is defined over this polynomial. Second component is defined over the interval x1 and x2, and likewise this polynomial is defined over this case order polynomial is defined over in the interval subinterval xn minus 1 and xn. It is defined like this way. Any question till now? Yes, Chandra Kaushik, are you asking any question? No, you have raised a hand. If you are having any question, you can ask. Otherwise, I will go forward. Okay, fine. Let me go forward. So I will focus on just ith interval, subinterval xi and xi plus 1. So in this interval, we define, we denote the corresponding spline by pi of x. So pi of x is what? It is a just a cubic polynomial with, if you are taking a cubic polynomial, how many coefficient would be there? Definitely four coefficient would be there: alpha I, beta I, gamma I, eta I. These are the four coefficient. So overall we have to estimate these. So if you take change the interval, you will have different coefficient, different value of coefficient. So interval local, there is a localness here, what we call it. So it is overall, this problem of spline interpolation is all about this. We have to estimate here, we have to find uh, alpha is. Apart from that, there is a condition that this a spline is also defined in such a way, if you try to find value of pi at point xi in the left point of this xi ith interval, then that would be matching with the given value of the response at that point. So pi of xi equal to yi, it is. So in this condition, apart from those smoothness conditions, there would be various smoothness condition. You can count those smoothness condition. If you I'm giving all the count, they can, you can count total smoothness condition how much it would be, because here you are trying to determine coefficient. So in order to determine coefficient, you need to know number of equation associated with that in order to calculate the unique value of the coefficient. Anyone would like to answer that? If I'm giving a linear system like ax equal to y or ax equal to b, tell me how many solution it will have. How many solution it will have? Anyone? Just, it is a simple linear algebra question. It is having three scenario. One solution, that means unique solution. Second scenario, infinitely many solution. And third scenario would be no solution. The three cases you will. So that you, in linear algebra class, you might have already seen that. So revise those things in order to understand all these things better. So I will talk further determining of cubic, determining the coefficient of cubic polynomial from given data. So how we can determine it? So taking a linear interpolation of the second order. So what we have to do? Second order, we have to take a second order derivative. Why second order derivative? Why we are taking? Anyone would like to say? Because we have taken our this spline as a cubic polynomial. If you try to find second order of a cubic polynomial, it would be always a linear function. It would be linear in x. So that's why we are taking a second order of the corresponding polynomial segment. That's a spline segment in the ith interval. Then it would be what? Linear. It would be a linear function. It can be expressed like this way. This is the, simply you can get this expression, second order of pi in the ith interval. It would be linear in linear function in x. Okay. Now further, what condition we put here? uh, uh, from here, if you try to get back our cubic spline, then we just need to integrate this one two times. If you are integrating two times, and with the smoothness assume, these are the assumption that we have taken. With this assumption, you will get back our cubic polynomial. This is the idea. If you take second order derivative of a spline in ith interval, it would be always a linear function, linear or linear polynomial. Simply we can say that, and just integrate that two times with respect to x, you will get your cubic spline. Where if you are doing in that process, then you will come across to see that if you try to what you do. So here uh, we had taken a specific notation of cubic spline. It was in the ith interval. It was denoted as uh, alpha times alpha alpha times xi, sorry, constant factor would come alpha. Okay, this one is the constant. uh, Here alpha actually I have reversed the order. So alpha I is talking about coefficient of cubic term, beta is talking about coefficient of quadratic term, and gamma is talking about coefficient of linear term. And likewise this one is simply you can leave it as a constant. There is no issue. This one is as a constant. So here alpha is just order is reversed here. So you can write it. So same thing it is. So we try to match it with uh, this by integrating twice. Then you will see that alpha is equal to this ratio, beta is equal to this ratio, gamma is equal to this ratio, and eta I equal to this ratio. So easily you can do that. It is all about integration and equating equating with this. Integrate this two times with respect to x. That means you do with respect to x, and after that whatever structure you will get, match with this one. In order, in that process you will get value of alpha a and beta a and gamma a and eta a. Okay, what you do, then you put one condition over that. We know that every derivative of this spline at that partition point satisfy this condition, every derivative. So talk about instance of first derivative. So if you are finding first derivative, for this one is for I minus 1th derivative, this one is for ith derivative, ith interval, this one is for I minus 1th interval, and this one is for ith interval. And in ith interval we find first derivative at left point xi, that would be xi, and that value, in order to make continuum nature, that value equal to right point of first derivative of uh, a spline in a spline of I minus 1th interval. So that's from that smoothness. This one is one of the smoothness condition. And if you take this condition through this, what we will get? We will get a linear equation like this way. This is a linear equation. All these are here. We can observe that all these second derivative are involved here. These are right now unknown to us. We have to find all those things. Okay, these are we are having only information that uh, pi of xi equal to y or pi. This one is at hand. We are having only this information, and we don't know the information of pi dash of xi and pi. Likewise, the first derivative, likewise you can go up to uh, l minus 1th or k minus 1th derivative, kth order you have taken. We don't know all those. We need to calculate all these values at ith xi. At xi we need to calculate. So we can calculate it through this. We can calculate second order derivative. Then we can, from there we can also calculate for first. Our planning is to calculate second order derivative. So we can calculate. So it is just a linear equation in second order derivative of that localized ith polynomial, localized spline. Localized polynomial you can call it. So if you simplify it for I varies from 0 to n, then we will get a compact representation or matrix representation like this way. Simplify all those things there, then we are getting a matrix, this matrix time this vector, it is containing that all second order derivative of those localized you know, polynomial. Or localized polynomial means I am talking about spline, and right hand side b. So all these terms you can see it like this way. And yeah, di is talking about, all these are coming with respect to simplification. Di equal to twice of hi minus 1 plus hi. What is hi? Hi is talking about ith, the width of ith interval. It is width of, that means xi plus 1 minus xi. Likewise, hi minus 1 is talking about width of I minus 1th interval. So that is the thing. And bi, what is bi? Bi is coming like this way. It is defined again in term of the difference of uh, response value and what we call it attribute value. It is coming, it is defined like this way. So this through this transformation we observe that the last equation is taking very simple kind of form. You can observe here it is what kind of form? Tri-diagonal form. It is having tri-diagonal form. So one matrix, you might have already seen the diagonal matrix. That means only non-zero entry you are observing along diagonal. Rest of entries of diagonal and entries happens to be 0. So that one we are calling it a diagonal matrix. Another one is a tri-diagonal. That means what is happening along with diagonal entries, you are observing non-zero entry just above the one above the uh, diagonal and one below the diagonal, like along this line and like along this line along. So like you can observe that these are above diagonal element, these are below diagonal, so those are non-zero entry. Apart from that, rest of entries are 0. So that's one, this one is a tri-diagonal. That means you observe, apart from main diagonal, you observe one lower diagonal and one upper diagonal. So that's why it is a tri-diagonal. Three diagonal entries kind of diagonal line you observe here. So if a matrix which is having a tri-diagonal structure, then easily we can factor into L into U decomposition. L for lower triangle matrix, U for upper triangle matrix. Easily we can decompose, and if we are able to decompose, we can get solution of this one. Simply I would like to say that if you are having a tri-diagonal matrix, a structure is computation is very simple. Computation would be very simple. And further properties are given. A diagonal matrix is always symmetric. It would be always symmetric. And here the calculation what we have done, so here every entry would be real as well. Now, so that notation, further simplification is given here in the form of diagonal. So I equal to j, it is talking about diagonal element. I equal to j minus 1, it is talking about uh, uh, one that one is that one line that is below the one below the diagonal element line. And j plus I equal to j plus 1, it is talking about just one above the diagonal, one above the diagonal line. So that is the, and rest of entries would be 0. Rest of entries would be 0. So we observe entries along three line of the diagonal non-zero, and rest of along the rest of line we are observing 0 entries. That is the situation. And just one example here I have taken it like this way. So cubic, so few points you can see that here the black dot, black circle, what you observe, yeah, solid circle what you observe, those are the given points, those are the given things we are having at hand. By using those and doing spline fit, we can get a very nice fit of that. So you can observe that here it is different from regression. Easily you can observe that. So here each of the point falls in the interpolated curve. Each of the point you can see that no point is away from the fitted curve, no point is away from the fitted curve. So this fitted curve, this is the interpolated curve which is passing through each of the given data point. And these are the what we call you can say that the open circle, these are what these are predicted point, what we are calling, we got it through fitted line or fitted point, simply we can call it fitted point. So the original data are shown as a solid and the approximated as open circle. So these are the approximated that from a spline, cubic spline we got it through. And all these things are I will provide the code. These are very simple kind of things. So I think it is already above 45 minutes. Anyone is having any question? Or just I will just have a look with what we call it regression. Just the same example in last class what I had taken. So this is talking about regression. So this regression curve, regressed curve, it is not passing through all the points. It is talking about approximation in sense. So that is the difference. That means interpolation will pass through each point, but regression, that regression curve, it won't pass exactly through the point. It will approximately approximate those points. So here we are getting this situation. This is the situation of regression, and last one was the situation of what we call it interpolation. So here, if you keep on changing the node, so here the six node, that means what seven, 6 plus 1, 7 points are given to you, and here 15, that means 15 plus 1, 16 points are given to you. 16 those node are given to you. With respect to that, you try to define a spline polynomial in localized way. This is the result of that. Okay, and if you anyone is having any